Hello and welcome. Today we are going to talk about autonomous networks, automation and AI, and how they are demanding new approaches in OSS and BSS. And I'm delighted to welcome Jason Keane, who's head of portfolio for OSS and BSS at Ericsson, to talk to me about issues surrounding that topic. So welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Annie. Hello.
Hello, and maybe we could start by you explaining to me in what ways autonomous networks, automation, and AI, how they demand new approaches and maybe why.
Sure. Well, maybe I'll start with autonomous networks and what they are, because it's a lot of hype and there's a lot of excitement in our industry about this. I suppose at a very simple level, what autonomous networks are a way to describe what you'd like to happen. And then the networks will simply comply and behave themselves and do what you want them to happen. So another word that sits on top of autonomous is intent, where you say, I set an intention and the network automatically adjusts that intent. So it's quite a large vision, or quite a broad step in vision from where we are today. And also autonomous networks, it's a journey that the whole industry is taking. And actually there's actually clearly defined milestones and levels you can get to achieve this. But it is absolutely a journey. What we see today with autonomous networks is as people progress, the more we realize you need to actually do more. It's actually quite a comprehensive vision. But ultimately, the reason you want to get on to being an autonomous network and move in that path is it brings in a level of automation. It allows you to improve operational efficiency within your operations, within your business itself, so that you can focus on top line growth and your core value that you're bringing, not necessarily running a technical system, but delivering service to your customers. In terms of, I suppose, AI and what it can mean for it is there's many different components across when we talk about autonomous networks. We have the RAN, we have the core, we have the transport function, we have the OSS, the BSS, which is my domain. And ultimately what it is all of these need to work in harmony. They need to work together in alignment, passing the right information, the context of the information together very quickly, very accurately, and ultimately that has to be relevant. So when we look at this, the glue that can help bring all of this together is artificial intelligence, or generative artificial intelligence, and actually information underlying it, such that you can no longer have to worry about manually configuring a system or manually operating or manually deployment. You simply set an intent and the system complies with it.
Okay, interesting. After such a long time of us talking about seamless and zero touch end-to-end operations, we are still, as you say, on the journey, and very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so networks are not autonomous yet. So that means we're still in the transition towards that goal. How can we move from the old way of doing things to this new way?
So I think, while I fully agree with you, we've been on the zero touch forever. I think right now the tooling has reached a level of sophistication that we can get there. So when we talk about a transition state, moving from kind of they're not autonomous yet, what is the TM Forum have defined an autonomous network framework, which is very useful, and it defines levels 0 to 5. 0 is maybe not so interesting; it's everything's manual. To 5, where it's fully autonomous. Most people are targeting level 4 today because maybe that's where the tooling can get to right now. And as we evolve as an industry with technology, we'll get better. But it's a way that everybody can assess their progress towards it. Ultimately, like any transformation, it's a stepwise approach. But ultimately, in the OSS and BSS space, we are advancing with areas where the underlying infrastructure, you simply have to move with cloud-based principles, cloud-native-based principles. In other words, you can scale up, down, left, right, dynamically as your business sees fit. This requires modernizing the architecture. You simply have to modernize it. If you want to automate it, you want to scale it, you want to deliver the services, you want to let it self-manage, you have to modernize it. The other thing as well is the network doesn't exist on its own. When you look at even through OSS and BSS and the RAN and everything else, there's different components will deliver different functionality. And you want seamless integration between them. For example, in Ericsson, we comply with TM Forum's open APIs. That's as much for us to help be standard compliant as to allow our customers to define the right way to integrate, to remove the complexities of integration. I suppose if I kind of give this, what we're actually trying to do with customers here is they're trying to change the engine of the car while driving. right? They're driving down the road and we're asking to change the actual engine. You can't do that as big bang. So it's also okay to realize this is a journey we got to get on. But every step you take in the journey should move you towards the end goal of a fully autonomous network. So it's quite a complex area, and it's a stepwise approach you need to take to get there.
Okay, so yes, the TM Forum model is really widely cited, isn't it? And many people seem to find it really useful as a benchmark as well as setting goals. So as networks become more autonomous and complexity increases, how are you going to manage that? I mean, it's a bit of a conundrum, isn't it? Because we're looking to autonomous networks to address complexity, but in itself, that's quite a complex maneuver.
Yeah.
So how's that work?
It's rather circular, isn't it? I think it is rather circular, which is a fair question. I think the first thing is, while we can talk about autonomous and everything, is the fundamentals of automation don't go away. You just simply have to automate. The problem we have with automation, of course, is previous automation has been quite static, but ultimately what it is automating. You're right. They're going to get more and more complex. So the reality is you can't manage all that manually. You have to use automation tools to automate the tasks away. And this is a critical success factor for our CSPs, for our customers. They have to simply use it. What's different though with the automation is that previously when we've done automation, it's been rather kind of rigid in how we do automation. For example, if in the kind of parlance of developers, it's an if-then statement. So if this happens, then do this. If then this happens, then do this. You can't manually code that, or you can't statically do that for your entire network. It's too complex. So in the automation, this is where AI is helping. It can understand saying, okay, this is the situation I'm in. It'll generate the if-then statement on the fly for you and figure out what is the best action I can take to move us to the next step. The tooling has matured. Like, for example, if we take our service orchestration and assurance, which is a product we have in Ericsson that actually turns on the service or instantiates the service and assurance for you, it can give differentiated connectivity and network slicing. It does that, well, I'm going to say rather simply. It does that rather simply. We said, I would like the service turned on. It'll go on, it'll turn on the elements. And if the elements themselves can't be turned on because they're busy or they're reserved or they're unavailable, it just doesn't fail. It asks, okay, maybe I have an order fallout here. Maybe I have an issue here. What is the next step I take to deliver the service to the customer? So it becomes much more, even though it's very complicated, the system takes the heavy activity out of making the service available. And today we're already, we're automating service life cycles with many of our customers, for example, Telia, Telstra, Rogers. So we're seeing it today. Ultimately, what it is for us is it's about keeping the actual complexity hidden or pushing the complexity into the system, which can self-manage itself.
Okay, so there's a great example in service orchestration and assurance. And I think these are topics that have really shot up most operators' agendas, actually. And there's so many ways in which we can expect to see automation and AI impact CSPs' businesses and operations. Which areas or functions do you think hold the most promise?
Each of our customers will have a pain point area. Where should they focus on this pain point area? But maybe I give you some examples of where I see across the global organization, ones that are maybe sticking in our customers and make sense for our customers, right? I suppose at the very kind of top of it, in kind of the core commerce area, the core commerce is where it actually starts. Our core commerce area is where you decide to buy something or you're making the commercial offer, because at the end of the day, you need to sell something and make money. So kind of one thing that's kind of helping here is, or maybe two things helping here is, we do guided selling. And what guided selling means is that I can go along, instead of just saying to you, buy this service for X amount of money, I can upsell you. Or I can give you, actually, if you buy the service, I can give you a guaranteed SLA on the service. Or I can give you flexible pricing if you pick this service at this point in time. I can maximize the amount of revenue I'm going to take for a customer. Same issue is, I go to sell you something you need to buy. I need to make sure it happens and to make sure it turns on. So what areas we see it is what we call order fallout. Order fallout is where the customer asks for something and for some reason the network's not able to turn it on. There's an issue with the data, there's an issue with the service. What we have is we've order fallout detection and prediction. Before I even attempt to sell it to you, I make sure I can fulfill it and fulfill it in a timely fashion, so your experience improves. We see other examples coming in from customers in smart pricing. This is a kind of a new kind of a dimension that we see, because what happens is typically how we do is we've had static pricing. In other words, the cost of doing something will be X amount of dollars per minute, per hour, per day, whatever else. And for sure, we're used to doing bundles at the weekend. You can get X amount of money off. But actually, I can say to you, like you have, and this is not peak time. So if you'd like to use your service here, I can give you a new price for this. I can incentivize you in smart pricing. Other areas I kind of see globally is it is around what I call, and this is the big area in this one, it's called intent-driven service management. I see a huge interest in this. Why? Because this is the most complex and maybe cost demanding areas within our customers. So if we can fix this and we can push forward to fix this, they will actually improve their operational efficiency such that they can help their business overall. And this is how we're helping customers today. We're helping them saying, but we have a tool, it's called ESO. We're intent driven. We can do the service management. We can take the heavy lifting or do the heavy automation for you to instantiate your service. Overall, I suppose, Annie, this is it's a journey, right? It's your marathon, not your sprint. I think today it's important that we keep it as manageable chunks of work. Keep working on an impacting area more and more until they come together and build up to be an autonomous network in the most useful way for you.
Okay, so really, we're thinking about building automation in steps along the way, and how we join those steps together.
Yep,
Which I guess is the definition of a journey.
It is, absolutely, and I think the thing is that while a journey when you start might look very long and very arduous, each step is important, but in each step, the key for us and the key for our customers, we bring business value. We bring a more robust, operation efficiency, or we bring the opportunity of growing top line. That will keep the journey going.
So you're getting the benefits every time you take a step. It's not a case of you have to wait till the whole thing's complete.
Correct.
And that's the real key thing, isn't it, when you're thinking about investment and planning?
Yep.
Okay. Jason, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Annie.